Let's quickly do another example of settlement discount. We assume a VAT rate of 15%. Company A is a wholesaler of Apple iPads and supplies the product to various computer stores. The normal selling price is $7,475 inclusive of VAT. 5% settlement discount is granted if clients pay within 30 days. The entity uses a periodic inventory system. And then they want you to provide the journal entries in the following cases. Good. Number 1. 100 iPads was sold to loser computers. Company A does not expect loser computers to pay within 30 days. Loser computers paid after 40 days. Now, what is important in these kind of transactions? Number 1 is when the sales transaction takes place. You have to ask yourself the question, number 1, very important, is there any expectation that this client is going to settle his outstanding invoice within the settlement period? If the answer is yes, then I have to make provision for that settlement discount at the date of the sales transaction already. If the answer is no, then I'm going to record that sales transaction the way that you've always done that in the past. So let's, number 1, read it again. 100 iPads were sold to loser computers. Company A does not expect loser computers to pay within the 30 days. So there's no expectation. So that means I'm going to record the sales transaction the way that I always did. So what is it? It's 100 computers multiplied by the selling price per computer of 7,475. So 100 times 7,475 is going to be debited. That's the invoice value against our debtors control account, 747,500. I'm going to take out the VAT, and that I'm going to post to my sales account, statement of profit or loss, 650,000, and I'm going to post the VAT on the invoice to my VAT output account, 97,500. Good, now settlement takes place. Now I have to ask myself again a few questions. Now the very first question and the important question is, did the client settle his outstanding invoice within the settlement period? So loser computers paid after 40 days. What is our settlement period? 30 days. So when they pay after 40 days or within 40 days, they are not entitled on a settlement discount. So what do they have to pay you? They have to pay you the outstanding invoice amount. So if that's the outstanding invoice amount, that is the amount that we're going to receive in our bank account, 747,500, and our debtors control is going to be credited with the same amount, 747,500. The outstanding debtor is going to be clean, our sales figure is correct, our VAT is correct, and the amount that we received is correct. Good. In the second instance here, 100 iPads were sold to Hopeful Computers. Company A does not expect Hopeful Computers to pay within 30 days. So that's a sales transaction. What is the question that I ask? Was there an expectation that Hopeful Computers will pay within the settlement period? The answer is no. Then I can go and I can say, well, then it's a normal sales transaction like I've always done. I also sold 100 computers to them, so it's 747,500. I will take the VAT exclusive amount to my sales account, and I'm going to credit VAT output with a VAT that is reflected on the invoice. Now payment takes place. Hopeful Computers paid after 20 days. So what is the first question that I ask myself? Did they pay within the settlement period? The settlement period is 30 days. So the answer is yes. Now, if they pay within the settlement period, how much would they have paid? Well, they are entitled on a 5% settlement discount, so they would only have paid me 95% of the outstanding invoice value. So the amount that I'm going to receive from my bank account is going to be equal to 95% of 747,500, which equals 710,125. Good. Now, How much is currently lying on the outstanding debtors account? 747,500, and that is what I have to take out of that account because I'm not going to receive a single cent more from this guy. So I have to clean out this account, 747,500. So what is the difference between the amount that I've received and the outstanding amount that he owed? That is the settlement discount that he has utilized. The amount that he paid includes VAT. The amount outstanding includes VAT. So this difference between the two, i.e. the settlement discount that he utilized, that will also be a VAT inclusive figure. Now, what did I take to my sales account initially? 100% of the VAT exclusive amount. But did I realize 100% of the invoice? No, I only realized 95% of the invoice. Therefore, I can only take 95% of the VAT exclusive amount to my sales account. So obviously, when payment takes place and this guy utilizes the settlement discount, I have to adjust my sales figure because this is now an overstated figure lying in my books. That figure there should only have been 650,000 multiplied by 95%. So I have to do an adjustment of 5% multiplied by 650,000, and that gives us 32,500. Now, if I take the 650,000 and I minus 32,500, it gives me 617,500. If I take 650,000 multiplied by 95%, it will give me 617,500. So now my sales in my books will only be a reflection of 95% of the VAT exclusive invoice value. Now the difference between the 32,500 and the 37,375, which is the difference between those two amounts, is the VAT. We said that that is a VAT inclusive amount, that is a VAT inclusive amount, so this is a VAT inclusive amount. Remember our golden rule is that no income or expense items will never include VAT. So therefore my adjustment must be a VAT exclusive figure. So the remaining amount, 37,375 less the 32,500, i.e. the 4,875, that is the VAT input that I can claim back from the receiver of revenue. Why? Why can I claim something back now? Because guys, initially I paid 97,500 Rand over to the receiver of revenue as my output when I recorded the sales transaction, but I never realized 100% of this amount. Therefore, I actually overpaid the receiver of revenue VAT, and now he actually allows me to do the correction entry. So it says, although you paid me VAT output on a full amount, I will allow you now to claim back that portion that you didn't receive. And that is the VAT included in the 37,375, i.e. the 4,875. So I'm going to debit my VAT input account, statement of financial position. Right, the third example here is 100 iPads was sold to Cool Computers. Company A expects Cool Computers to pay within 30 days. So the sales transaction, what is the question that I'm asking? What is my expectation? My expectation is they're going to pay within the settlement period. Now, if that is my expectation, it means I have to take into account the settlement discount when the sales transaction takes place. So I will already record for the sales transaction only 95% of the VAT exclusive amount as the sales figure. Good. So what is the steps that I'm going to follow? Number one, determine the invoice price. So what is my invoice price? 100 computers multiplied by 7,475. So that amount, 747,500, that's the invoice value, and it will be debited against our debtors control account. So determine the invoice price. Step number two, take out the VAT. What is then the VAT exclusive price? 650. Break up the VAT exclusive price into its two legs. The one leg, 95%, will go to sales. So sales, 95%, 617,500. 5% is going to be posted to my allowance for settlement discount account, statement of financial position, 32,500. And then the VAT that appeared on the invoice, i.e. 747,500 divided by 1.15 times 15%, that will then be posted to my VAT output account, 97,500 Rand. Good. So can you see, at the outset of this transaction, I only take 95% of the VAT exclusive amount to sales, and I park the other 5% in an allowance account to see what is going to happen when settlement takes place. Now, settlement takes place and Cool Computers paid after 10 days. Is this the one? Yeah, they paid after 10 days, so they paid well within the settlement period. What is the question that I'm going to ask now? Well, if they paid within the settlement period, how much would they have paid me? They would only have paid me 95% of the outstanding invoice amount. So the outstanding invoice amount was 747,500 multiplied by 95%, and that gives me the amount that I have received, 710,125. How much is lying on the debtors control account which I have to take out of his account? I have to remove the full 747,500 out of the debtors account. So I'm going to credit that account with that amount. Now we've already said to each other that the difference represents the settlement discount that he has now utilized. But remember, I've already made provision for that settlement discount in my allowance account. So now I'm going to clean out my allowance account. I'm going to debit that allowance account with 32,500. The only thing that I haven't accounted for is the VAT that I can claim. And the VAT that I can claim on this settlement discount that he utilized of 37,375 equals then 32,500 times 15%. Or 37,375 divided by 1.15 multiplied by 15% is also equal then to 4,875. So now what happens after I've recorded the transaction? My debtor is out of the books. The amount that I've accounted for in my bank account is the amount that I actually received, 710,125. Sales is still correct. Sales was from start off only 95% of the VAT exclusive amount. My VAT is correct. I have paid there the full amount, but I've claimed back the VAT on the settlement discount, so my VAT is correct. My allowance for settlement discount is out of my books, so I'm a happy chappy. Everything is in order. Number 4, 100 iPads were sold to Green Computers. Company A expects that Green Computers will pay within 30 days. So that's a sales transaction. What is the first question? Was there an expectation that this guy is going to make use of the settlement discount? And the answer is yes, we did expect him to make use of the settlement discount. Then from the sales transaction, when we record the first transaction, we will already make provision for the settlement discount. So what are we going to do? We're going to debit the debtors control account with the invoice value. What is the steps we're going to follow? Determine the invoice value. Step 2, take out the VAT. Step 3, determine the VAT exclusive amount. Break it down in its two legs. 95% of the VAT exclusive amount will be posted to my sales. 5% of the VAT exclusive amount will be posted to an allowance for settlement discount statement of financial position account, 32,500. Right. The only other thing that I still have to record is the VAT. So the VAT on the invoice is the 747,500 less the 650,000. That we're going to take to VAT output, and that is 97,500. So when we record the transaction, the sales transaction, already 95% of the VAT exclusive amount was posted to our sales account. Now settlement takes place. What is the question that we ask ourselves when settlement takes place? Green Computers pays after 60 days. Question that we ask is, did this guy pay within the settlement period? The answer is no. So the next question is, now what was the amount that he paid? The Answer is he must have paid now the full outstanding invoice amount because he was not allowed to deduct anything for a settlement discount. So how much did he pay? 747,500. That's the amount that we received, and we're going to clean out his account with 747,500. There was a debit, there's the credit, so now there's nothing. But we have assumed when we recorded the sales transaction that he is going to make use of the settlement discount. Therefore, we only posted 95% of the VAT exclusive amount to sales. As a matter of fact, he never made use of the settlement discount. So now our sales figure is understated with an amount which equals 32,500. There we've broken down the 650. We only posted 95% to sales and 5% we took to the allowance for settlement discount. Settlement has taken place, so this account becomes redundant. We have to take it out of our books. So we know that we have to debit that account with 32,500. And where is the counter leg going to go to? The counter leg is going to be our rectification of our sales amount. So we're going to credit sales. If we credit sales, what is our sales amount going to be reflected at in our trial balance? It's going to be 617,500 plus 32,500. If I add the two together, it will give me 650,000, which equals the VAT exclusive amount of the invoice, which is correct. So I'm a happy chappy.